JM on the track, JM on the track. In ADP production. Married in with Queen and Chris. Welcome to Married in Shit, Married in Shit. One spot for the spicy, one spot for the sweet. It's Married in Shit. 11 years in and you know that the marriage on fleek. Married in Shit. Like, subscribe, be sure to tap in like every other week. It's Married in Shit. Welcome to the family. Married in Shit.
Hey everybody, welcome back to
Married in Shit.
For those of you just joining us, I'm Quinora.
And I'm Chris.
And for those returning,
thanks for coming back.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming back. We sorry that was a little jumbled. We have a little bit on our mind. We were talking about today's topic briefly, and I think we got to the point where the conversation was getting too good, and I was like, all right, let's just get into it. And blood was really boiling and stuff like that. Boiling. So why don't you tell our wonderful listeners what we were talking about just a little while ago?
So we were talking about this article that recently came out. The article is titled, before I be lying, the article is titled, I Had to Choose Being a Mother. And the main person that's being discussed in the article is a female by the name of Amy, who was, I can't say is, because, she was the CEO of a tech company, her own tech company. And so many thoughts and feelings and emotions as I read this article. And I was like, you know what? I think it'll make a really good episode. And so I showed it to Chris. And so we just had a few things. And as he was saying, when we were kind of doing our prelim discussion on how the episode will kind of flow, I was really getting, I won't say heated, but just
I think we both got excited about different parts of the article. It was just a lot. It was a lot to take in, and I actually I read less than half of it, and I felt like from that little section that I read, I was like, oh, this is enough to really talk about what's been going on. It talked about basically the role Amy had to take and the choices that she had to make due to the impact of the novel coronavirus. She was the CEO of a tech company out on the West Coast, employed. She had about somewhere between 10 and 15 employees or something like that. And I don't know exactly what the tech company was. I didn't look into all of that. I didn't really think it was that important. But the fact that the pressure of having to deal with their 3-year-old son, they said it was 3-year-old son. Now we know schools and daycares and all that stuff was closed, and people had to make lots of decisions and adjustments to their lives. Hell, we had to make adjustments. But she had to make the tough choice to basically dissolve her entire business. I don't want to say fire, but
essentially, what your employees do, if you dissolved your business, your employees are gone.
She dissolved the business and fired all of her employees, forcibly, all because
she got an ain't shit husband.
Okay, yeah, I guess. Reading the article, I was like, this dude, because in this situation, in their situation, her husband was also in the tech industry and had already decided to take time off.
Yeah, it didn't say, time off.
The article literally said that he was managing a rental property while considering his options. To me, that basically says you were unemployed.
Yes.
Now maybe that's a bit harsh because I don't, and that was my thing, is I don't know what level of managing this property he was doing. Like, you know, are you getting it ready to be rented, or are you just listed as the landlord on the property, which, you know,
you may not have a lot of day-to-day activities though. Managing a rental property, depending on, you know, what stage it's in. You know what I mean? We have lived in rental properties where we don't bother our landlord on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. But I know there are some people that are more needy than we are.
I guess when I was thinking about that, I was when I said it that way, I was specifically thinking about our search for a rental when we first got here. And a lot of the houses that, you know, they sent us to look at, it was basically in at least 80% of the situations, it was like we were meeting with some guy who bought the house and was basically fixing everything up himself. Mm-hmm. And needless to say, you know, none of those homes were up to par. Yeah. Versus the ones where somebody hired a rental, a leasing company, right, to handle all those particulars. So let's go into some of your hard points. Yeah, your many issues with this. Issues. And, you know, and we'll give our opinions on, you know, how we feel.
So many issues with this, with Amy. So many. First of all, I don't, and this part isn't on Amy. This is on the people who, I think it was like Lily. Yeah, the actual website publication, which, you know, I understand it's probably a media thing. They want a headline that's going to grab your attention. And the headline is, I had to choose being a mother. Here's my issue with that. First of all, even as a working 9-to-5 person with side hustles on the side, I am always a mother. I don't choose like, oh, you know what I mean? I'm choosing to be a mother. I am a mother when I am at work. I am a mother when I'm on a conference call. I am a mother when I'm over here sewing. I am a mother at all times, period. I don't have the opportunity to put down my mother hat and it's like, oh, right now I am just Quinora the employee. That shit doesn't happen. That's not realistic. It irks me to no end when people are like, you have to choose being a mother. The only thing that I will say in that being accurate is I will choose my kids over my job in certain situations. That's the only time that I would say that particular statement applies. But I am always a mother, period. Because if my kids call me when I'm at work and if it's something serious, I'm chucking the deuces. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. You know what I mean? But saying that, oh, now I'm going to be a mother because the other 40 hours in the week or 70 hours in the week where I'm doing something else, I'm not a mother, miss me with that.
Yeah, and I think I've mentioned it before. I think I talked about the speech that was given at when I, you know, every time we do like a course or something like that, we have like a guest speaker. Yeah. So there's a guest speaker at this course, this resident training course that I attended, and the speaker said after every day of work, he asked himself 3 questions. Was I a good husband? Was I a good father? Was I a good employee? And he said more times than none, he's not able to answer yes to all 3 of those questions. He never mentioned that I have to take one of those hats off. Right. It's just, hey, you know, at one point in time, you know, I had to spend less time at work because I had date night with my wife, or less time with my wife because I had some one-on-one time with my kids, or less time with my family because there was a project that I was working on at work that had to be done. And it happens to all of us. I feel like all of us have to make these choices, especially during what we're dealing with right now with the coronavirus. Right. Now, we're lucky. You know, I will admit we are lucky to be able to do our work from home.
Yes.
And to still get paid.
Yes.
But, you know, it's tough.
It is tough.
It's really tough because,
it's tough.
You know, when you're on, and I've seen the differences, you know, when you're on a conference call versus when I'm on a conference call is a little bit different, which is why my opinions on how serious you take yours, I'm like, yo, they know you're at home, they know you have kids, you know, what does it matter? But, you know, I don't know too much about your line of work. Versus, you know, me, they know we all have families, and hell, when I'm talking to my boss, you know, I can hear his kids in the background. Sometimes he's talking, sometimes one of them be sitting on his lap. It's just, you know, but, you know, it is what it is. But to say that she completely had to take that hat off, and really the reason she gave, it wasn't that her son was just causing her to be away from her business. It's like you said, it goes back to her husband ain't shit. Like, bruh, for the most part, you're basically unemployed. And they showed pictures, and maybe we'll drop a link to the article in the notes. I think it was the second picture on the article. It's like when you look at this guy, it kind of made sense to me. I was like, you're that guy that just laid down and created a child. Yes, you're you know, you're not like you're not a deadbeat, you know, not a complete deadbeat. I think this situation kind of makes him a deadbeat.
He is the type of father.
Yes, please help me out.
He is the type of father who says that they are babysitting their own kid.
Ah, yes.
That's the type of father that, and again, I'm only going off of what is presented to me in this article. But that's the type of father that he is reminding me of. The type that actually says, oh yeah, I'm just babysitting my kids. As a dad, as a father, you cannot babysit your own kids.
As a parent.
As a parent, yes. As a parent, period. You cannot babysit your own kid.
Now, if you're auntie, uncle, cousin, you know, grandparents, you know,
right.
If you're the older sibling, you know, watching your younger siblings, because you know that's not your job. It is the parent's job to raise their kids. It's like, hey, you know, I'm parenting right now,
right? But
I mean, we're parenting all the time, but specifically this time right here is blocked off for my kids only. So no work. You know, we'll do arts and craft, do finger paints or whatever. And what kills me, what really got up under my skin about it is it's their 3-year-old son. Now, we mentioned before, we have all girls.
All girls.
You know, and there's nothing, I love them to death. I love playing with them. She'll tell you, you know, we have fun. Like our youngest, you know, I'll go and tap her on her shoulder and say tag and start running, and it's on for the next like 10 minutes. She's going to chase me around until I either get tired or I just let her tag me or something like that. And then I got to chase her around, and, you know, and that's fun for me. But, you know, as somebody that does not have a son, you know, it makes me cringe knowing that there are fathers out there that aren't in their son's life. Not you know, has nothing to do with I'm not saying sons are more valuable than daughters, but, you know, in your situation, if we had 3 boys,
I mean, and even with us having all girls, you know, I have always wanted a son. You know what I mean?
We both have.
We both wanted a son. So I see where you're coming from in that. And,
you know, I'm like, go outside. Now, like, again, when you look at this guy, there's nothing remotely athletic about him. He's
maybe. Look, he could be athletic.
Look at that.
Listen, we ain't that athletic either, so I am not about to have an opinion on that one.
That's different. This screams couch potato.
I mean, he works at a computer all day. I'm not gonna, because I work at a computer all day.
Russet potato at that. He's not even.
I work at a computer all day, so I'm not exactly a spring chicken out there,
Man,
you
this
know,
dude
cartwheeling it up.
He's built like a russet potato. That's how he's built.
I'm not going to mention it.
I mean, basically what I'm getting at is maybe looking at this guy, he's not going to be out playing basketball with his son or out, you know, he looks like a gamer. You know, so it's look, get you a video game system and play with your son. His son is 3 years old. Hell, you know, our kids were playing. They got the Wii. They were about 2-3 years old when they got the Wii.
Yeah,
and they couldn't play mini games, but you know, like it just makes me cringe, and I hate to throw the gender role out there, but the fact that it's not your 3-year-old daughter, it's your 3-year-old son. I don't want to be chauvinistic that way, but you know, I feel like it's a father's job to teach their sons how to be men.
Yeah, if you have a father in your life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's always, you know.
In their situation.
In their situation, the father is there. The father should be the one teaching their son how to be a man. Period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and it starts at a tender age. Just like, you know, I don't automatically send the girls off to Quinora when they have certain issues, but you know, primarily if Quinora is available and they're having a female geared issue, if she's available, I'll you know, say, hey, let me go talk to your mom before I give you some bad advice.
Yeah,
at the very least.
You do yield the floor to me, you know, on certain things. You'll be like, listen, I mean, even in something, and it doesn't even have to be anything like major. Even something as simple as clothing. Like, you know, you didn't understand female clothing sizes. You didn't understand that little girl clothes.
I don't. It's still dumb. You don't even understand female clothing.
No, first of all, okay, that's a whole nother topic, and that's just the fashion industry all in itself. I would love it if female clothing sizes were just like male clothing sizes, where it's just measurements. If your waist is a 36, you buy a 36 size pant. Mm-hmm. That I would love that. However, the fashion industry is all about vanity when it comes to females. But that's gonna be that's a whole nother topic.
It's about what?
Vanity.
Oh.
Vanity sizing. But that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother soapbox.
See, the fact that there's an explanation for that makes no sense. Like for a guy, when we're getting measurements, it's like, hey, you know, an inseam, it's like the inside of the pants that goes down.
We have an inseam too. It's just, you know, I agree. No, I'm agreeing with you. I think it would be a lot easier if
inseam says 32
clothing,
inches, then that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like the inseam, like a woman's hips could measure, you know, 37, 38 inches, and you would think, okay, all right, you buy that size pants. It's like, no, but I'm like
I said, vanity sizing in the fashion industry.
I don't want to throw a number out there because I don't know what that it's
double digits, but that's
it's dumb to be.
But anyway, back to this.
Or like, you know, Anaya's at the age to where, you know, she
is developing.
She's developing, and she's it's time for her to start like shaving her legs.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. She didn't come to me and say, hey, can you shave my legs? That's not, you know, I naturally deferred that to mom, and that's just I'm okay with that. But going back to this article, it's just like, man, you have an opportunity that I don't want to say a lot of guys, but at least you have an opportunity that I don't have. I don't have the privilege of raising a son.
Yeah. And this is my issue also with the husband. Is in the article, like, she even alluded in a way to say, like, she kind of knew that he wasn't going to be up to basically being there for her son. And that being there for the son, it only lasted 3 days. Sir, you couldn't last 3 days with your son by yourself. So what that also means to me is your wife couldn't go on a week-long work trip. She can't go on a vacation.
Or vacation, yeah.
She can't leave you with your son for longer than 3 days
without you wanting to suck on a shotgun shell. You know, like, bruh, that.
Like, now, when I go on my trips, I know there are certain things that I have, it's a preparation. There are certain things that I prep for Chris and the girls. I make sure their hair is done. I make sure, I may have a few leftovers and stuff. Like, I make things as easy as I can because I know there are other things that, there are other things that's more important to him. He is, he likes playing with the girls. And him and the girls can be playing until 9, 10 o'clock at night, and then they look up and be like, oh, we should eat. You know what I mean? Which isn't a bad thing. But I try to make sure any barriers are out of the way. I don't, I make sure their hair is done so he doesn't have to worry about it while I'm gone. You know what I mean?
I'll give it the fisherman's try, but it's not going to be good.
And that's not to say that, if he was in a situation where he had to do their hair, that he wouldn't have the know-how or, the ability to do it. I just make sure certain things are, aligned so that way he can truly just focus on the girls. You know what I mean? And there have been times where I've been gone a week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And it's fine. Like, so I can do the hair, and it's a lot helpful now that, Anaya and Imani both made the decision to do locks.
Yeah.
So Anaya has really learned from, you doing her hair. In a lot of cases, Anaya has kind of be like, Daddy, I'll do Imani's hair. I'm just like, go listen to your sister. And she's taking on that role, but still 3 days.
3 days.
3 days, and we're talking a 3. You're not preparing him to go to school.
Yes.
Schools and daycares are closed. You're just at home with him. That just tells me you are absolutely. And mind you, I don't know if we mentioned this is a white couple.
Yes.
So it's not just
living in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, it's there. And there's this social stigma that spit came out my mouth a little bit. There's this social stigma that that the black fathers are trash, and we're the this is an in-home deadbeat to me, because 3 days lets me know that you have no kind of relationship with your son,
right? None
whatsoever. So you're just literally in the house taking up oxygen. He's in. I'm thinking this article is going to say that he's a partner at some law firm or something. I'm just waiting to hear that he's just piled up with work up to his chest and stuff like that. But he had, before this pandemic started, he had already decided to take a step back from the tech industry, and you're somewhat involved in the rental. And looking at this guy, and like I said, they say you should never judge a book by its cover, but y'all need to look at this dude. And
he is not that bad. It's not like he's on 600-pound life.
Don't be not like that. I'm not trying to body shame the guy. I'm just saying specifically that maybe he's not the type that's going to go out there and throw footballs with.
He may not.
But even then, with a 3-year-old, 3-year-olds aren't very coordinated. Like Kristen can't catch.
Right.
That's that's so. It's his 3-year-old son, so it's not going to take that much effort to
keep them entertained.
Yeah, and honestly, you put down a solid hour, because there's no way. Like, we as adults, we know how to. If you want to go play a game of pickup basketball, or if you go to an aerobics class, if you're going to do some, how to gauge your energy to be able to last the entire time. But kids can't do that. You go outside with this boy for about an hour tops, he's going to be ready to sleep for about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And that's, I'd love to do that with Kristen. Like, when she's just unbearable, we're going to be like, what? Let's go outside.
Yes.
She's going to go outside, and she's going to run around crazy. Then all of a sudden, you'll see it on her face. She gets a little dizzy, and it's like, yep. Let's go inside. We're going to make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Get you a cup of juice, and put you in front of the TV. Within 7 minutes tops.
Gone. Knocked out.
And that's it. So we're not talking about an 8 or 9 year old. This is a 3-year-old. All he wants is your attention.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like, all they want at that age is your attention. You know what I mean? So, and then you had mentioned, and like you said, we didn't mention before, that they are white. Mm-hmm. And this article,
it's cultural differences.
It screams white privilege. Like,
it does.
Every line screams white privilege. First of all, the husband took a break from his job. Okay, this was pre-coronavirus. The husband took, so that's no income coming in. Maybe a little bit something, but not a full time.
It specifically said they were living off their savings.
Okay, and then she decides to up and quit as CEO of any corporation. You know what I mean? You bringing in something. So now y'all are bringing in no regular income and living off of savings for the unforeseeable future as long as Corona is going on. Can we just talk about how much privilege you have in that? To be able to do that? And I think it was a line in the article that said the being able to quit is a privilege in itself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That is a freaking privilege because shit, we got bills. You know what I mean? And between each of we had said before, he's military. Between each of our moves, I save up to make sure that we can still cover bills for a certain number of months while I'm unemployed, so we can make sure that, we can go to the grocery store. We can still do the things that we like to do, and bills are getting paid.
We usually have about, 5 to 6 months?
Nah, like 3. I've been doing good. Oh. I've been doing good finding jobs. But, it's still and even that is a privilege that we have. But this white privilege of being able for both of y'all.
We usually try to save up about 5 to 6 months.
Yeah.
And then once she gets her job, we
we try and save that amount because we never know how long it's going to be. But usually, whenever we get to a new place, I get a job within 3 months. But, the white privilege of it all, because there are people out here who were barely making it before. You know what I mean? Because and we've seen this before. We saw it with the government shutdown. You know what I mean? When they're like, oh, you're supposed to have 3 to 6 months. Having 3 to 6 months savings is a privilege. It is something that a lot of people are working on.
That's a whole nother topic in itself. You got people that are steadily making their 6-figure salaries.
Yeah.
You didn't hear about too many politicians that were forfeiting their salaries.
Wow, we was unemployed. Government employees, we unemployed.
Yeah.
I mean, not unemployed. We were still employed, but we were unpaid.
And that's just it honestly it's a privilege of their status as far as their job's income, and I think it has a lot to do with skin color as well. Because look at I think Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, has forfeited his entire 2020 salary, and I'm just like, it would be nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice to be able to, pull a gesture, like that. But, some people don't have it that way. And
most people don't.
Most people don't. Most people, 99% of people don't have it like that.
Most people don't have it, and especially when they are living in a part of the country that is a higher cost of living.
Where a gallon of milk is probably $7.
You're in freaking Silicon Valley. Your 6 months of savings could be easily someone's yearly salary. Easily. You know what I mean? So that whole privilege of it all is really irritating to me. And then the other part that irritates me about it is her privilege to quit. Is in the article it mentioned that she specifically employed minorities and females in her business.
I didn't make it that far.
Yeah, she specifically because she wanted to change the stereotype of a tech person, quote unquote, what a tech person looked like. It makes me question, did you even consider your mission when you made this decision to quit? Because I'm the type of person, Chris will tell you, I will have plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I will have multiple plans So that way we will see what's the best case scenario. Was this really the best case scenario for your business and for your employees that you was trying to look out for? You know what I mean? When you were trying to change the narrative of what a tech person looks like, what was that really the best case scenario? Because in the article it said that she still gets online at 5 a.m. in the morning. She
still spends about an average of 4 to 5 hours on her computer per day, just in like tech forums and stuff. And I'm like, you might as well
been at work.
You might as well keep your business open.
You could have been at work.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
create shifts. You between you and your
co-founder.
12 between you, your co-founder, and your 12 to 13 employees, is be like, hey, look, talk to your mans. It's like, look, I don't need you to have them all day. It's just that for these 4 to 5 hours, please have a relationship with your son. It's not even about take care of your son. Develop some type of relationship with your son.
I was saying, like, there's so many different ways that, to me, you know what I mean, that this could have gone. You know what I mean? When you're the CEO and this is your company, you have a co-founder, like, I would hope that if my business gets to the point where I have employees under me, at some point you have to start looking out for your employees. You know what I mean? And was this decision looking out for your employees? I don't think it was. I mean, at least, and I know for me, I wouldn't want to come work for you after you just was
the fact that, and I feel like, whatever her mission statement was, yes, you sought out to find a diverse group of women and say, hey, we can do this too. We're here. Dare I say me too.
No,
but like a different version of it. But
I think there's just so many things that she could have done better. And the reason I say that, I think I just spit. Catch that bit. The reason I think I can say that is because there was a situation when we were at Fort Gordon, and I just had Kristen. Yes, I just had Kristen, or it was the summer after. But basically, we had the 3 girls, and it would not have made sense in the summertime for me to have Kristen in daycare, Anaya, and Imani in daycare, because my check would have literally been, oh, thank you, government, for my check. Here you go, daycare. You know what I mean? Like, There wouldn't have been, like, my whole check. And we've been in that situation before where my check is primarily childcare. You know what I mean? But that summer.
It's like that in Hawaii, too.
Yeah, I mean, Hawaii was like that, too.
But yeah, even in that sense, if that's the case, if, with that being said, kids take a lot. They take a lot out of being a parent. And sometimes I feel like you need that mental break. Like, I need interaction with other adults.
Yes. But what I'm saying is I made a way to make it work. You know what I mean? I got with my boss and I was like, listen, this is the situation. It does not make sense for me to come to work when my whole check is going to daycare. So I worked with my boss where I worked from home. I did limited hours at the job. There were times where I brought the kids to my job. Now, of course, that's not available in everyone's situation. I'm not saying that it is, but you make a way for the things that you truly want. I truly wanted my career. Because I didn't want to be away from work and having that, time outside of work. So I wanted my job, but I also wanted to be there as a mother, and I wanted it all to make sense. So you find a way to make it work. You know what I mean? For you to basically drop your business when there's people like me where I'm trying to build a business. I'm trying to get to the point where I have employees. I'm trying to get to that point. And you just basically drop the ball and like, my child is, he needs me to go plant tomatoes out in the garden with him. So I'm just going to be like, boop, forget the business. I'm going to go plant tomatoes. Like, really? It makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know too many kids asking their parents to come plant tomatoes out in the garden.
Listen,
I get it. But you were able to do that as an employee. You have multiple. She was proudly the CEO of this company.
Which to me means you have even greater range to make it work. Because in the article it said that her co-founder was spending less and less time at work because I think she had she was maybe taking care of her parents or something like that.
I don't know. I didn't get that far.
I can't remember. But the co-founder found a way to be like, listen, I'm not going to be at work as much, blah, 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 blah. So instead of her being like, oh, woe is me, I'm going to take on all of this. Bitch, you got 13 employees. Like, make it work. You could have been like, I'm going to be online from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. From 9 to 12, I'm with my son. Don't bother me unless it's an emergency. You know what I mean? Put your son down for a nap at noon. You go online for another 3 to 4 hours. You work from 12 noon to 5 and be like, Daddy, go be with your son from noon to 5 p.m. That right there is like a 10-hour day. Right there. Mm-hmm. Right there. And you still spend time with your son from 9 to noon in the morning. And then when you off at 5, 6, whatever time, whatever time that you say, the kid got to go to bed at some time.
Yeah, and like I said before, kids do not, at least not a 3-year-old boy that does not know how to gauge his energy. He does not have the energy to stay up for 8 solid hours.
Yeah.
You maybe a good 2 to 3. And honestly, it can be, you know what? I'm going to take my laptop and take my laptop and a little hotspot. I mean, he's a tech guy, so I know he has some type of tethering capabilities, but I'm gonna go to the park, sit down with my laptop, and not go to the park. Coronavirus. You can't go to the park. Hell, by now, when was this article?
Well, this is California, so they're probably still on even further lockdown.
Okay, so go to the backyard. I mean, this looks like a nice house.
Yeah, they got.
So they got some space. Like you have somewhere where you can go, or something that you can do to where she can be in her own little bubble, and you can go out, or not maybe go out the house, but you can go somewhere and let your son. I mean, he's a 3-year-old. He doesn't require that much maintenance. At most, just make sure he doesn't hurt himself. But right. You don't have to. Watching a 3-year-old is not hard.
Yes, and then even like kind of sort of what we're doing. So like I get up and I'm logged into work at 7 a.m. None of my kids are up at 7 o'clock in the morning.
They ain't up now.
Yeah, you know what I mean. They will get up maybe around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is the time where you can experiment and not be so conventional. Oh, kids need to be up at 7 and then they need to be in bed by 9. Like, why? What for? You know what I mean? I know that when I wake up at 7, I get uninterrupted peace to be able to work until about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. By that time, I'm getting ready to get off because them 8 hours and I'm out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And she can do something similar. Who says that your kid needs to wake up and eat breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning? She already getting up at 5 o'clock. Get up at 5 o'clock. She can work till 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then, yes, your son is up in the wee hours of the morning. But who cares? Who really cares? Because the girls be up, they'll probably wake up about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. They go to bed maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Like, it's like 12:30 right now. And hold on, don't do anything. Absolute silence. There's nothing going on right now.
Nothing.
So
and it gives us the opportunity.
If she wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning and she's able to be on her computer consistently from 5 to like 9 or 10 in the morning. That's what the article says. I'm assuming these are the time. I'm assuming they reached out to her and she provided input because they have quotes from her. And so it's like you already have 5 to 9 of uninterrupted time. Yes. Are you telling me that you could not, that your co-founder, you couldn't have gotten with your employees to ask, hey, what type? Because my thing is, business, it's not like business is booming crazily either, because a lot of businesses have had to scale back as well. So you're a tech company, and this is why maybe we have to look into the company itself to see like what type of clients they had, and maybe the decision went deeper than just being, but the article specifically states that I had to choose to be a mom because my husband wasn't willing to stay at home with my kids. So it didn't say that, well, you know, we were, because it did say that she lost a client, but it made it seem like she lost a client because she didn't
of Corona.
Yeah, so, well, she said because she lost a client, she had to put more hours into working. So that makes me believe like the loss of your client wasn't really as much due to Corona. Maybe Corona had something to do with it, but if you losing a client meant you had to put more hours into work, that means that the ball was being dropped somewhere. So, and she felt like she had to pick up the slack. That's what that says to me. So, you know, maybe we don't have it, but based off of the information that's in this article, and like I said, we'll make sure that the link is in the notes so that you can give your opinions. What I got out of it is your husband ain't shit.
My 3 takeaways was she got an ain't shit husband. I remember that. The white privilege of being able to be unemployed and live off of savings in Silicon Valley. Oh, and the white privilege of being of, I feel like, first, you know, there's history that shows that white people don't have to work as hard for the things that they have. You know what I mean? So I don't want to take anything away from anything she has done. However, this is one of those situations where I feel like someone like me, we work to make it happen. Where she's just like, oh, this is too hard, so I'm just not gonna do it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And we've been, wait, are you done?
I'm done.
For the most part, you know, that's been the stigma, and usually it's with the white families.
Yes, because they don't have to work for shit. You know what I mean? Like, we literally work. And it's a very generalized statement. There are definitely going to be outliners, but you know, at least for us,
I know lots of white people that have to grind.
Yeah, that have to grind.
Get the short end of the stick.
But you know, we have to work for every single thing we have.
I think that's what we're getting at. That's what this article. That's what it screams. That
it screams white privilege. That's exactly. But whew, this was a good one, babe. This was.
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna last as long.
Huh?
I didn't think it was gonna last as long.
I think, you know, we just, you know, we had to get certain things out.
I thought at like the 18-minute mark, I was like, damn, we about to wrap this up, and this gonna be, you know.
You was like, oh shit, this about to be like a 25-minute episode.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like we had them waiting a week for this.
Oh goodness. But, you know, this is a good wrap up.
Yeah.
And
tell us what you think. Like I said, we really are going to put the link to the article in the notes. If it's not there,
no, it'll be there. I'll put it there, unless of course the actual website, you know, gets rid of it. But
yeah, we'll put it if it somehow doesn't make it to the notes, tell them how they can reach out to us.
You can reach us on Facebook, Instagram at Married and Shit Podcast. We'll have the links for that as well. Like us, subscribe us on all of the platforms, and that way you can know what we're gonna be doing, because we just started this week Talk About It Tuesday, where we're live on Facebook and Instagram. We're not gonna do it every Tuesday, but
it's a work in progress. So
yeah, work in progress. Depending on our schedule,
we'll see how it goes, and you know, hopefully we can get some participants. We also have to find the right time to do it, because we're in the central time zone. So
I mean that, and we got work and, you know, everything going on. But so this past Tuesday was our first one where we talked about a few things, past episodes, that whole sort of thing. So we'll do a few more, which is why you got to follow our page so you know when we're going to be live. Mm-hmm. So be you, stay true, and don't be afraid to start some shit.
We out.
Oh, that'll be cute. Bye.